Good evening, everyone. It's Necro Thursday. Why, that means it's time for the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. How's it going, Mike?
It is going well. Good to be back. Uh, although I have been back, it is still good to be back, as they
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
The old rock and roll song. Going all right. Tonight, as we tape this, it is April 30th. While purchased not, Mike Hill.
Yeah.
You're aware,
Oh,
huh?
I'm aware. I'm aware.
You are aware.
Yeah.
So if there are any virgin males listening to this tonight, please be careful. You may get abducted by pagans and killed. So please be careful tonight. If you are a male virgin listening to the show, I would put a double lock on the door and hopefully you make it through the night. Mike, I'm just being cautious for the listeners.
You're looking out, definitely.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
we've seen our Wicker Man, we know today can be a bit dicey. It can be a dicey day, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Amen. All right. But Necromaniacs are a podcast. I'm doing okay, man. You know, still kind of dealing with some of the I don't want to use the word fallout, but the kind of odds and ends of my brother's passing. You know, family, everybody kind of went home, and things are kind of slowly easing back to some type of normalcy. So there's that kind of going on. But other than that, you know, I am okay. How are you, Mr. Hill?
I'm doing well, man. You know, there's been a lot of really, really horrible stuff kicking the year off, with just
Mm,
people in our both of our families passing away, but
mhm.
I feel like things might be a little bit on the upswing right now, which is good, and
Yeah,
starting to in a little bit over a month I'll be getting married, which is nice,
that's right.
excited about that. So bought the wedding ring yesterday. Um,
Nice.
it's starting to tomorrow we're getting our marriage license.
Hmm.
And yeah, just everything else is booked. The venue, the
Hmm.
place we're having dinner. It's going to be a small little thing, so it's not like
Gotcha.
some massive like Italian wedding or whatever with like smoke machines and stuff like that.
So it's not going to be like the Godfather wedding, Mike? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
no,
The wedding of the
no. It's
Godfather?
funny. Like I do have members of my family that have had massive weddings like that, like
Hmm.
the Long Island contingency,
Hmm.
yeah, the Molinari side of my family. And so I went to one wedding out on Long Island where I said smoke machine because they had a smoke machine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there
Wow.
was like a DJ with like an MC and dancers.
Dancers. I only went to one wedding in my life with dancers, and that was
Yeah,
pretty fun. Yeah.
yeah. And that was quite an experience. Yeah, so but
Mm,
we're not doing anything like that. It's very small.
okay. I
No.
Hey, you know, there's no need for smoke machines, light shows, and dancers at a wedding. As long as you have the couple, that's the biggest part, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
couple is the most important. Yeah.
So all that stuff's coming together nicely, and yeah, it's a little bit over a month. It'll be going down. So I'm excited about that.
Right. Excellent, excellent. I don't know if there's a little pitter patter of my new cat Amy running through the apartment. She's definitely getting used to the joint right now.
Nice. Good.
As I mentioned in the prior episode, my brother Kevin's cat is now my cat, and now she's in charge of the home now, so it's her home. Yeah,
That's good to hear, man. I'm happy to hear that.
yeah, she's great.
Have you been checking anything out interesting?
Um, well, let's see. We did our White Lotus wrap up. I watched the second to last episode of the Righteous Gemstones, which has been quite a treat this year. I know we're both enjoying that.
Yeah.
And then the other night, I just put on Eastbound and Down, put
Oh
on
yeah.
episode one of that, which I have not seen since it aired. And that, of course, was just, I don't know, I think that might be their best show, honestly. Like, oh, my personal favorite is Eastbound. I think I would go Eastbound, Gemstones, Vice Principals, kind of in that order. But aside from all of that, still kind of chipping away at my Daredevil, which I'm enjoying. And Star Wars, Andor, enjoying that, of course. Um, Not a ton of horror outside of, stuff for the show, really. But on the horror reading front, I picked up some nice graphic novels. A couple episodes back, I think I might have mentioned listeners that Image Comics has the license for the Universal Monsters, and they're doing, all these series for them, like mini series. And when the series are over, they put them in these really nice hardcovers. So I now have Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Dracula. All these are available on Amazon, or if you want to order them from your comic shop, go ahead and do so. I mean, these are really nice. They all have like killer artwork, and definitely couldn't recommend them enough here.
Yeah, before we started recording, you were telling me about them. I added them. I'm definitely going to pick those up because, like, out here, sadly, there's no good local comics book store around here, man. I got to go into Manhattan or drive 20 miles to East Brunswick to go to a good, decent comic book shop.
That sucks. I mean, the one I go to is right next to the Alpine Theater in Bay Ridge, and uh, lifelong listeners will know that is the theater in which we saw Serbian film,
Yeah,
which was the kickoff for the podcast, so to speak, way
that's
back
right.
in the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have a great comic store right next to the movie theater called Galaxy. And yeah, the guy, I have like a small pull list there because I'm literally reading like four comics. So, but aside from that, the guy gets me all these trades, and it's a nice, 10% discount, which is cool. And I'm supporting independent business. So why not?
Galaxy's a great store, man. That I went in there with you, the one in Bay Ridge,
Mhm.
and that. But I used to be a fairly regular patron at the
Mhm.
one on Park Slope on Fifth Avenue because I used to live around the
Yeah.
corner from there for a while.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. There's not a ton of independent comic stores left. I mean, of course, Manhattan has three locations for Midtown Comics, which is when you at the end of the day, they're an independent store. They're just a successful one. But yeah, they're back in the day, kids in the 90s, there were lots and lots of comic stores. But that was many moons ago, huh?
Well, one of my favorites in the city was St. Mark's Comics too, which
Mm.
was like that. You can go in there at like midnight and it would still be open, which I thought was awesome. You
Yeah.
ever notice that? You'd be at a show at like Coney Island High,
Uh-huh.
then you'd walk down the street and you go into St. Mark's Comics and it's open still.
Yeah, it's still open. I know. Strange. I'm sure they have quite a few stories to tell. They are now in Sunset Park, make St. Mark's Comics, located inside the Industry City shops. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that, and that's a pretty that's a good move, man.
Yeah.
I have yet to really do anything in Industry City. I've driven by it a bunch of times, and like
Hmm.
when I was living in Brooklyn, it wasn't really in its it was just in the beginning of what it is now, let's say.
Right. Yes. I think that's like, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I don't even know if it was actually fully open for business back then, but it's really cool now. And yeah, you and Tina should check it out one time. I think you guys would dig it. There's all these shops and places to eat and places to drink, and there's a record store, and there's St. Mark's Comics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's killer, man. That Third Avenue run though was used to be pretty sketchy though back in the day.
Yes. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of strip clubs in Sunset Park and some shady characters. There's still maybe if I would say there's still some parts of Sunset that have some shady characters left, but it has largely been gentrified. Um, why I have to throw in a plug right now. I'm going to be DJing in Sunset Park, Mike Hill. How about that?
Well, let's give us some details here, Mike.
Yes, at the Irish Haven Kids on 4th Avenue and 57th Street. Myself and my buddy Frank are doing a metal night on Friday, May 16th. It is, of course, free. Uh, you know, Come on down. It should be a lot of fun. Friday, May 16th at the Irish Haven. Myself and my friend Frank will be spinning hard rock, heavy metal, some goth, you know. Yeah, it should be cool.
The 16th, huh? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, Friday, May 16th. Come on down.
For me to get to Brooklyn is way easier than it is to get into the city from here. Because like we live right on the other side of the bridge from Staten Island. Like I'm like 10 minutes from Staten Island.
Oh, so then you're close to like my apartment then. I mean,
Yeah,
because Dr. Heights is pretty close to the bridge
yeah,
technically.
yeah. I
But
mean, I could, like, it's really, really easy to get to like spots in Brooklyn from here. Like, we can just, we jump on the Goethals Bridge. I
mhm.
mean, that run across Staten Island could be tricky, but
Yeah, traffic, yes.
yeah, yeah. But like, and then Verrazano, and then we're in Brooklyn. So, like, it's not out of the question that I might roll through that.
Awesome. Yeah, we used to have it at this place, the Lock Yard in Bay Ridge, but Lock Yard is no more. So yeah, we're gonna try our metal monthly at the Irish Haven, and the first one's May 16th. So yeah, if any listeners are in Brooklyn or New York City, anywhere, come on out and hang.
Real quick about gemstones, that last episode from this past weekend, there's a little bit of a horror edge to that episode.
Yes. Oh man, I, I love the show. I mean, I don't know, how much. I mean, I don't know how much more they could do. Like, I know this is the final season and like the finale of the show. Are you okay with it being the finale?
Yeah, I mean, is I feel like they're going to go out strong. You know,
Yes,
that's
yes,
what I do like about Danny McBride is like he doesn't overstay his welcome. You know what I mean? He knows when to call it quits on these things.
agree. And I was sad when Eastbound and Down was done, but I went, you know what? They're going to do more. They're going to do more. So, and he seems to have this wonderful deal with HBO where it's like they get, I don't know if they get first dibs or if he has a literal long ongoing deal with them for all his shows. So, I mean, I'm excited for what's next.
Yeah, the great Michael Rooker's is in
That's
Gemstones this
right.
season.
It's so amazing that Michael Rooker is like his, his horror beginnings to now, right? It's so cool that he's still fucking chilling and making cool stuff.
And he like his character in Gemstones, that's like the perfect type of character for him to play though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, just like this cold, like psychotic sort of guy.
Yes. Listeners may know I'm a huge Don Johnson fan and huge Miami Vice fan. And it was announced this week, kids, that there is a new Miami Vice movie coming. No cast yet and not a lot of details, but the movie is happening. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I caught a couple of cool things. The on what the hell app were we watching? Oh, Pluto TV.
Mm,
Okay. There's so many free apps out there now that you just find out about. So we have Pluto TV,
mm,
and we were watching a documentary called Shadow Man about
okay.
Richard Hambleton, the artist, the New York City street artist. And if you guys like dark stuff, definitely check out this dude's work. Richard Hambleton, Hambleton.
Campbell. Mm.
Yeah, he was around in the 80s. Um, but right after that, it went right into Lucio Fulci's The Black Cat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
See, that's interesting.
so we ended up watching the Shadow Man doc into The Black Cat, which I really like that one, man. That was a good one. That had Pino Donaggio score, you know.
Okay, here's the interesting thing about that one. I don't think I've seen it. I mean, I might have seen it, but I'm not 100% sure I've seen. There are these drips and drabs of Fulci that I have not seen in their entirety. I think this is one of them, so I want to watch this movie.
Definitely got to see it, especially, you and I both love cats, so it's good to see,
Yeah.
Black Cat movie. Um, I had seen it a million years ago,
Mhm.
and when it started, because it went from Shadow Man right into the movie. Like there was no, it was funny. We don't really watch a lot on Pluto, but I guess that's how they do it. And I'm like,
Mm.
this looks so familiar, and I was just like, Lucio Fulci's Black Cat.
Well, it has some of his, his regulars are in this. David Warbeck is in this. Al
Yep.
Cliver is in this. It's got Mimsy Farmer in this. Of course, she's done a bunch of the Italian stuff. and British actor Patrick McGee is in this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna peep this movie definitely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely check it out. Gemstones caught that. But there's a news item out there, which I know that you're probably familiar with, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood series.
Yes, I wanted to bring that up. It's funny you bring that up. Yeah, tell us a little more.
Apparently David Fincher is directing this.
Right.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
excited about it.
why Quentin isn't doing it, but hey, I guess Fincher is pretty fucking great.
Yeah, I just want to, bring that up. It's
Yeah,
something
but
that
I
we're all
think
both
Quentin.
interested in.
I'm sorry. I think Quentin is writing it. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm going to say that that's probably right.
Okay. Yeah. Apparently, let's see. I'm looking for the article here. Yeah, it's from. Let's see. Yeah, David Fincher. How about that? I mean, look, I'm there. The day it airs, I am there.
Absolutely,
I'm
man.
stoked. Um, I I mean, I would love to see more of this character and learn more about the character. I think that's fucking awesome.
So there's no
Um,
calls this week. But if
mhm.
you want to get in touch with us, of course, you can hit us on the Necro phone at 908-913-0782, 908-913-0782. And as you all know, we're part of a larger group of content creators known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. So if you enjoy this show, be sure to check out those guys' shows out too. It's kicking things off on every other Monday. We've got Brandon Legion's Horrorwolf 666.
On Tuesday, folks, we have Jackie Smith's own Into the Necrosphere, all of your extreme metal needs in one wonderful podcast. One of my favorite podcasts, by the way. Yeah, check out Into the Necrosphere on Wednesday. What do we have, Michael?
We got a double shot on Wednesdays. We've got Everything Went Black, and we also have Iblis Manifestations.
Did you hear the new Trivac song?
Yes, I did. It's fantastic.
Really good.
Yep.
Yes. Really catchy, huh? I dug
Yeah,
it.
dude. Absolutely. Well, I mean that's kind of, he I feel like Cheyenne is operating in that realm of catchiness. You know what I mean with his
Hmm.
black metal?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I like that, especially when it works.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of black metal out there that I think I've referred to here on the show as noisy crap. And not all black metal has to be noisy crap. And the noisy crap is literally a scene into itself. There are people that love noisy crap. I do not. And I almost kind of prefer a memorable tune from time
Yeah,
to time.
totally.
Or, if not a memorable tune, I mean, a nice little, throwbacky tune, if not, if not memorable. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everything doesn't have to be so dissonant and lightning fast and just like horribly recorded to be black metal. And this is someone who's been listening to it for over 3 decades saying this. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and just knowing, being familiar with the other Trivax material, it's
Mhm.
definitely has that dissection, Watain
Yeah.
sort of catchiness to it, which I always
Mhm.
felt was like the winning hand in their material. Because that's also what I really like too, is I like a song, with like a hook. Even though it's extreme metal, it doesn't mean you can't have hooks.
So, listeners, get your mind out of the gutter. I often listen to Into the Necrosphere in the shower. Don't ask me why. It just happens that way all the time.
That's a
And I'm
long
in
ass
the
shower,
shower.
man. Like there's
Well, no,
some...
I mean, my shower, I do like long hot showers. I didn't say I listen to the entire thing in the shower. I say I'm in the shower usually when it's on. I put it on. It's just sometimes I put it on at night into the Necrosphere because it is a long podcast. So anyway, I didn't know it was the new Trivax, and the song is on, and I'm like, okay, oh shit, what is this, right? And then when it was over, because I can't hear everything over the water, I guess, and I'm also partially deaf. And when he said it was the new Trivax, I was like, oh shit, that was a really good song.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But there's your Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
We've covered. And now Thursday, you're listening to right now the Necromaniacs horror podcast, the most excellent horror podcast in the world. What about Friday, Michael?
Friday, your brother, John Draper, along with his
Hmm.
cohorts, brings us Spitball Media, which is a kind of irreverent take on pop culture.
Hmm. Yes, a
Saturday,
lot of fun. Oh,
Saturday.
totally. Yes. Saturday, we have a day off, as a matter of fact.
Finally, we get a day off on
Everybody is
Saturday.
off. Everybody is off on Saturday in the horsemen of the podcasting apocalypse. And hopefully, you as a listener get to, touch the grass, as they say, and chill out. But on Sunday, come on back, right, Mike?
That's right. The Sinister Minister brings us Soul Knocks, and Carl Hikara gives us 2 episodes a week, Thursday and Sunday, and it's
Mhm.
for all things macabre, occult, sinister. Anything in that world is the realm of Carl Hikara. Carl and I are doing a collaboration called Darkness Weaves, where we switch off Everything Went Black and Soul Knocks every other month, where we talk about the work of Carl Edward Wagner, a horror, weird fiction, sword and sorcery, dark fantasy author who was taken away from us at a sadly young age back in the 90s, but he left behind an incredible legacy of great fiction, great dark fiction. And we right now we're going through all of his Kane stories and novels. But there's more stuff after that, which we've uncovered, which we're going to be covering after we finish up the Kane stuff.
Excellent. And there you have it. Your horsemen of the podcasting apocalypse, all the podcasts you need. Make sure you're subscribed to each and every one of them and supporting them. Tonight, kids, we're going back to the 70s, right, Mike?
Yeah, we got the Sentinel. And Mike, and you and I were discussing this about how this kind of fits into the kind of New York 70s, like old New York theme that we've been sort of loosely following over these last few weeks.
Oh yeah, this movie is definitely kind of could be partnered with Eyes of Laura Mars. It could be partnered with Clute. It's 70s and it's New York. It could be partnered with, I mean, honestly, like a bunch of stuff. Um, we've been focusing quite a bit on 70s horror almost throughout 2025, which has been great. I think Don't Look Now and The Changeling are could be, horseshoed around this movie as well. I think those are more superior films than this film, but this film is a lot of fun nonetheless, huh?
Exactly. And the one differential though is this takes place in Brooklyn, New York, the home of Mike
Yes,
Scandato.
that's right.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't know of too many 70s horror movies that take place in Brooklyn. If there is another one, please let us know, listeners. And of course, there have been others over the years. Not a lot, in my opinion, but this one is exclusively in Brooklyn Heights. And all the exteriors are Brooklyn streets, and some look extremely familiar if you're a New York native or know New York. Not 100% sure on the interiors, but it was a lot of fun to watch this movie, huh?
Exactly. And there's that one shot where it's like that there's like that park at the end of Montague Street that
Mhm.
in Brooklyn Heights where you get that nice view into Lower Manhattan.
Mm,
I picked that up. That was like the first cue that this was in Brooklyn, was that there was a nice shot of that. And I was like, oh, it's kind of overlooks the BQE is like right below it, and you get that view into Lower Manhattan, and then they pan back, and then you're on Montague Street, and
mm,
that's where this building, which doubles as a gate to hell, um,
yes.
is located.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm reading on Wikipedia. It says external views of the house were taken from the block built at the west end of Remsen in Brooklyn. Um, and many of the film's locations are in Brooklyn Heights. Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool as hell. And on YouTube, folks, I they did a that those location things that people do for horror movies, like what it looked like then and what it looked like now. There was like a couple of them on YouTube for this movie, which I thought was cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, really, really good looking film. So directed by Michael Winner,
Mm.
who not really known for horror per se.
Yeah.
He's directed a bunch of films that I'm sure both of us have seen. The Mechanic being one,
Mhm.
Death Wish 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and he also co-wrote this along with Jeffrey Konvitz, uh, based on the novel by Jeffrey Konvitz called The Sentinel.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that it's weird. Like I thought I saw it, but no, this was my first time seeing this movie. I could have sworn I saw this movie, but I had never seen it before. I'd be interested in checking out the novel. The other really wild thing about this movie, folks, is the amount of stars in it and extremely recognizable faces, including a few who, but when this movie was made, were literally beginning their careers, huh, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. And we'll cover some of that too. But yeah, yeah, at the very, very end of the movie, there's like a guy who became like a major star who just
Yeah,
has a very brief,
like a
almost
minute.
throwaway, like almost a throwaway scene in there.
And at the very start of the movie is someone who's not even in the credits, who's a major star. Jeff Goldblum's face is one
Wait,
of the first faces you see.
no, he's definitely credited.
No, he's not in the beginning credits. He is not listed.
Oh,
He is listed at the end of the movie, Mike. He's
okay.
not even listed at the beginning of the movie. Like there's a lot of people listed at the beginning,
Yeah, okay,
like
gotcha.
but no, he is not because he wasn't really anybody yet. This is kind of like Death Wish and this and what do you call it? Body Snatchers comes after this, I believe. So yeah.
And he was also in Taxi Driver too.
Right.
Yep.
Wow, man. Must have been real cool to be an actor in New York City in the mid late 70s, huh?
You know, how old Jeff Goldblum's got to be like what in his 70s now?
Well, let's see.
He
He
looks
has
fucking
to be,
great, man.
yeah, he really does. He was born in 52. He is 72 years old. Wow.
Yeah,
He looks
see?
great.
Yeah, look, that looks great.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. So this was released February 11th, 1977 and is 92 minutes in length. So yeah,
Hmm.
nice pretty standard as far as the cut goes.
Hmm.
And we
Hmm.
got a cast here, that's for sure,
Yeah.
man.
Hmm.
Yeah. We've got Chris Sarandon as Michael Lerman, Christina Rains as Allison Parker, Martin Balsam as Professor Rosinski, John Carradine as Father Francis Matthew Halloran,
Hmm.
Jose Ferrer as the robed figure, Ava Gardner as Miss
Yeah.
Logan,
Yes.
Arthur Kennedy as Monsignor Franchino, and one of my all-time favorites, Burgess Meredith as Charles Chazen.
Okay. Eli Wallach is also in this movie. He's
Yep,
from about a million things.
yep,
As I said earlier, Jeff Goldblum plays Jack, very small role. Beverly D'Angelo, our beloved mom from the vacation films, is in this movie as well as a young girl named Sandra, who has a bonkers scene that we'll talk about.
yep. Oh yeah,
Uh,
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken, who I don't think has any speaking.
He
I don't even
does.
remember if he spoke. Does he
He
speak?
was in, yeah, he has maybe three lines in this entire movie, and he plays Detective Rizzo.
Yes, he
Yep,
does not. He barely speaks. Yeah, Eli Wallach plays Detective Gatz. Jerry Orbach is in
yep.
this movie as the commercial or film director. Uh, and lastly, the movie ends literally the last minute and change of the movie has a very young Tom Berenger at the end, along with actress Nana Visitor, who, geez, her credits are astounding, but she was basically on Star Trek Deep Space Nine for the entire run. And for horror fans, she played Pamela Voorhees in Friday the 13th, 2009. How about that?
There's also you mentioned Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen Griswold from Christmas
Hmm.
Vacation, right? There's
Yeah.
also another cast member from Christmas Vacation in this movie.
Wait a minute. That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah, there's William Hickey
William Hickey. Oh
as
my
Perry.
God.
Yeah, he played Uncle
Wow.
Lewis from Christmas Vacation.
Unbelievable. There's a lot like if you're a Gen Xer and you watch this, you'll be like, I know who this is, I know who this is, I know who this is. A younger person will only recognize a handful of people, but I mean, the star of this movie, Chris Sarandon, is of course the voice of Jack Skellington, not the singing voice, the acting voice of Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, and the head vampire in Fright Night, which is I think where I first kind of remember
Yeah,
him, huh?
yeah, that was the first place I'd seen him.
He's in another movie that is extremely Necromaniacs worthy called Lipstick, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down with that. We should definitely cover that one for sure, man.
Yeah, that movie is out of control. That's a little aside. But yeah, Chris Sarandon, he looks like really kind of different and like young in this. This is one of his earliest credits as well. Um, but yeah, it's a Brooklyn set supernatural horror film. The old plot focuses on a young model who moves into a historic Brooklyn brownstone that has been sectioned into apartments only to find that the building is owned by the Catholic diocese and is a gateway to hell. That's a good summation, huh?
Definitely. Um, this movie has maybe unintentionally kind of an Argento feel to it, wouldn't you say?
I was going to say that, but
Yeah.
I also felt it was very Fulci like. It was beyondish kind of vibes for me.
Yeah.
No?
Some of the visuals in it were definitely Fulci-esque. Yeah. Like there's a
Yeah.
couple scenes in particular, like some of the violence, like some of the gore scenes
Hmm.
have like a Fulci like vibe to it. But the yeah, and there but maybe because there are parts of it that remind me, dare I say, of like maybe Inferno or like Suspiria or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely Inferno. Definitely. Yes, which had that New York, New York exteriors and whatnot. Um, but this also reminded me a little bit of Hereditary, Michael,
Sure. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, Especially the ending of this movie and like the whole kind of coveney kind of thing. Look, it had Rosemary's Baby, definite rip-offs, like, you know, Exorcist Rosemary's Baby, I think was a very big inspiration here. But I feel like a couple of modern directors might have seen this movie as well. No?
Probably. And
Hmm.
I'm also going to make I might be wrong here, but I believe the novel was part of the Paperbacks from Hell. Uh,
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, I feel like that cover is very familiar looking. You're right, you know?
yeah, yeah, and it's if that's the case, because after I read that book, I started chipping away at some of the seminal ones, like Rosemary's Baby, which I'd never read. I'd already read The Exorcist and Legion and all that stuff prior to that, and this is something that's like I'm definitely gonna revisit this, mainly because there's a lot of cool like literary references in here. They talk about Milton's Paradise Lost and all that sort of stuff. So I wanna check that out.
No, totally, totally. I mean, it has it's good moments. I mean, I feel like it's not, I don't know, it's not as amazing as some of the other 70s horror we've
No,
covered, right? I mean, it's good. And it has a couple of really good like gore moments, and some decent scares. And it's just like the cast is just super impressive. But I guess one would think with this cast, you would expect a little more out of the movie itself, or am I looking for too much from a late 70s horror movie?
I mean I dug the atmosphere of this whole film. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And also it's you know what it is? I saw this movie when I was very young.
Hmm.
And some of the imagery that stuck with me were like the images of the priest and then the images of the sort of deformed people like wandering through the hallways.
Yeah, very Italian.
Yeah. And that was what was really stuck with me. So I was it was hard for me to be completely objective about this movie watching it as an adult now, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it's a little bit off kilter, the movie for sure. But with that sort of basis of creepiness to it, some of the other references, the religious references and the Milton stuff, and they talk about the angels, Uriel and all
Hmm.
these like Paradise Lost sort of iconography in there is makes me like the movie more and intrigues me to read the novel actually.
Yeah, I feel like the novel may end up having quite a bit more meat on the bone and be very intriguing, you know?
So I guess my,
Um,
my my criticism maybe would be that it didn't go deep enough. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It starts really strong. Um, that scene in the very beginning where she has the flashback about her father was a really good scene.
Yes.
Where she stand like uh Allison Parker, the main character in the movie, who's like the fashion model, who has a history of like her own mental illness and suicide attempts due to childhood trauma. We get to see what that childhood trauma was. Like one day she's coming home from school as a young, Catholic schoolgirl, I'm going to assume, and she kind of walks into the room where her father is, and her father is having sex with two women, and it's very like ritualistic and bizarre. And I was like, whoa, like it's like it was kind of out of nowhere, like, right? That scene?
Yeah, it was pretty jarring, and you're
Yeah.
not sure at first like what the hell's going on really. Then you realize it's a flashback.
Yeah. Oh, that's the cool thing. Michael Winner does something very interesting with the flashback where he puts the present in with the past,
Yeah.
because that scene fucked me up a little. I had to kind of I think I rewound. No, I did rewind it because I just went, wait, what just happened here? Um, and then the father attacks her and rips her cross off her neck, and she goes into the bathroom and slits her wrist, and they show it, and it's very graphic. And then like it kind of flashes to her watching herself as a young girl slitting her wrist, and it's like, oh, okay, this is a flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
um wild scene. Probably one of the best scenes in the whole movie, actually. So the father has like these occult attachments, you could say.
And that's kind of where I can see where you're saying that it sort of reminded you a little bit of hereditary.
Yes, absolutely. And even some of the looks of some of the people in the building once they were kind of like a part of the whole, you know, creepy cabal, definite vibes of Hereditary. Another very interesting scene in the movie, which I alluded to before, is once Allison has moved into this new building in Brooklyn Heights, she meets some of her neighbors, uh, who are a lesbian couple. We don't really realize it until a few beats into the scene that they're a lesbian couple. Um, and like the older woman puts her hand on the thigh of the younger woman, and the younger woman is Beverly D'Angelo from the Vacation series. And the older woman walks out, and then all of a sudden Beverly D'Angelo just starts like playing with herself
Yeah,
over her clothes, in full view of Allison and in full view of the viewer, right?
that's right.
And again, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, this was a mainstream horror movie, came out in 77, early 77. I think it was pretty edgy, actually, to include the graphic suicide attempt and this bizarre masturbation scene.
Yeah, definitely for 1977.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've always really liked Beverly D'Angelo too. So
Yes, she looks great. She's probably in her early mid 20s here, you
yeah,
know. But no, it is not she's not naked. She does it over her clothes.
dude, but
At
do you,
one point when
she is naked in the movie though.
oh yes, later on.
Later on,
Yes, she is
yeah,
later on naked in the middle. Yes, that's of note. but then like the girl puts her hand on her breast. It's just really wild. Like,
Very racy. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting this in this particular horror film, you know? Um, but they're basically kind of fucking with Allison, all the people in the brownstone that she has moved into, right? It's kind of on purpose.
Yeah, because there's a sort of lack of like a preordained element to this thing, which gets revealed throughout the film. Like you don't know
Mm,
right away exactly what's going on, but which is interesting because I mentioned that there's this happens later on. There's like some references to Paradise Lost by John Milton,
mm,
and which is like a long form poem that it's like the tells the story of the fall of man, and a lot of it has to do with free will and predestination.
mm.
So I found that to be kind of interesting. They referenced they made some Paradise Lost references.
Yeah, there is. And the the other interesting thing is at first you don't you're not 100% sure of the priest Catholic kind of angle initially. Like at least like you don't know if they're the good guys yet, right?
Yeah, because everyone seems so sinister in this movie.
Mm, totally, totally. I feel like that gets more realized as the movie goes on, but like you kind of don't really trust anybody other than kind of the main character and the boyfriend, really. And you
Yeah.
kind of don't even really trust Chris Sarandon and the boyfriend
I
because I
was
feel
going to
like
bring
he's
that
a
up.
little,
That he
yeah,
seems like
he's
he's somehow
weird.
implicated in all this stuff too.
Yes, absolutely. To backtrack a little bit, she moves into the brownstone because she's not ready to kind of live with him yet, right? Is that from remembering
Yeah,
correctly?
they wanted he wanted to kind of move forward with the relationship, and
Hmm.
she wasn't sure. So she got her own place in this building.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of all the buildings in Brooklyn, she finds this place.
And it's really interesting because it almost just looks like one tremendous home, but like inside it's got all these like sub apartments that all these creepy culty people live in, and now she lives in, you know? Which again, it's Rosemary's Baby-esque because everybody in the building is a Satanist except for Rosemary. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's you kind of know a little bit what inspired this, right? I mean, it kind of wears it on its sleeve a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely more front and center in this movie that there's something going on. And these are a little bit more than Satanists though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so one night she's going through the building and she happens upon like this kind of party, I guess, in one of the apartments, you could say.
Yeah.
And they're having a birthday party for Burgess Meredith's character's cat, right? That was a very creepy scene.
Yeah, and there's all these, people there. Uh,
Mhm.
two of them used to live there, but they still come around. I forgot their names exactly, which ones they were. But yeah, everyone's there.
Uh-huh.
Gertie and Sandra are there, you know.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's
Yes.
like there's that's kind of it feels like a trope, like that sort of thing where you move into a building, there's like these old eccentric people that live there. And maybe it's just because I just finished up Apartment 16 by Adam Neville.
Mhm.
It's like that's like this the very, very reliable setting for this type of film. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the newcomer to a building that whose inhabitants have lived there for generations or decades rather, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. The 70s horror vibe creepiness is definitely here,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite vibes in movies, you know. Um, and I feel like certain actors are kind of maybe not putting their all into this one, while others I think are doing great. Burgess Meredith, I think, is doing a very good job in this movie.
He's always great though.
Mm,
I always loved Burgess Meredith in movies. Now the real kicker though is Allison complains to the landlord or I'm so sorry, the real estate agency, about the party and stuff like that. But she indicates to her that the only person that lives in the building is Father Halloran.
Yes, that all the people she saw are dead.
Yep. They're all dead, so they're
Deceased murderers
ghostly.
or something. Yes,
Yeah, they're
exactly.
all and
Right, right,
they've
right.
all been they're all murderers.
Mm,
Yeah.
wild.
Hmm.
So again, I feel like it's like, Allison is just kind of like starting to maybe unravel a bit.
Yeah, because
Um,
that's sort of like the you're not sure if she's imagining everything or if these are like, phantoms, you know what I mean?
mm,
Or she's not sure exactly what's going on.
right. And then she goes to church at this point, visits the Catholic Church and confesses her sins, including an adultery with Chris that she had with her boyfriend. Um, and basically, we kind of learn more about her, right? I mean, she's had a bunch of suicide attempts of her own, right?
Yeah.
Aside from the one that we see. And then we learn more about Chris Sarandon as well. Um, didn't he, like, his exes all killed themselves, and he's
Yeah.
got a bunch of other shit that's gone on in his life, right?
Right. So there's like a lot of this kind of like predestination, that's starting to like come into play here,
Hmm.
that revolves around suicide and like uh it's like these elements are all being drawn together. At least
Mm,
that's my take on it, is that none of this stuff was really random or by chance.
agree.
Yeah.
Um, and at the start, well, earlier on, we learned that there's a priest who lives in the building who's like blind, right?
Yeah.
And basically, he is the Sentinel, folks. He is kind of the guardian of the building, right?
Right.
Um, but I'm trying to properly, verbalize a bit more of the plot about how Allison kind of comes into play as what goes on to be the new Sentinel, the next Sentinel.
Yeah, well, there's like a whole line of different people
Hmm.
stretching all the way back, and
Yes,
Allison is just part of that lineage of people that are supposed to take up the mantle of being the sentinel in the building.
right. So yeah, it's revealed by Father Halloran that the Brownstone is in fact a gateway to hell. Um, and it's revealed that, like, Michael is sinister as well. He attempts to strangle Father Harlan, uh, but is killed by Franchino, the Monsignor. Um, and now this is where it gets very Italian, I feel like.
Yeah,
Right? It gets
definitely.
the horror movie is definitely ramped up at this point.
See, I was like, it's interesting that his name is Michael because Michael's like the archangel who threw
Yes. Uh-huh.
Satan into the fall from grace, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But in this case, Michael, it didn't really play out that way with this Michael. So
Yeah, it turns out Michael hired one of his friends, Brenner, to kill uh, his wife. Like, Michael's got a lot of blood on his hands, it turns out. Okay. He's dead. He's killed, but he's now walking around with the other minions of hell in the building, right?
yeah, that's kind of like what all of these other former murderers were. They're
Mhm.
basically what I'm reading it as like these kind of lost souls who are in hell essentially, or existing at the gateway to hell.
Exactly. Yeah, this is very Fulci-esque, I feel
Yeah.
like, straight up. And I have a funny feeling Michael Winter was not watching these movies back in the day at all. Um, you know, and it probably takes its beats probably from the novel itself, you think?
Well, I'm going to find out because I'm going to read
That's
this thing.
right.
I'm going to
Yeah,
read this
I
book.
hopefully do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Burgess Meredith's character's name Charles Chazen, by the way. Um, and they're kind of coming upon Allison in the building, and we learn that Halloran is the Sentinel who ensures that the demons do not escape hell, and Halloran is nearing the end of his life. And Allison, of course, with her history of suicide attempts, has been chosen as the new Sentinel to save her own soul. But of course, Burgess Meredith and the crew are trying to convince Allison to join them and Michael in hell instead. What would you rather do, Mike?
I definitely would not want to be in hell, I don't think.
No, no, I don't think so. I think I'd rather just guard this building and be a creepy sentinel up in the top floor. I don't know. Um, Halloran, of course, struggles with the demons. Allison takes the cross from him, accepting her duty as the sentinel and saving her soul. And in doing this, Chazen and all the acolytes kind of just disappear, uh, which was a cool scene, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they're probably this whole thing probably has to do with like the end of one cycle, one
Hmm.
Sentinel cycle, and these like lost souls or devils or demons or whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
We're sensing that the changing of the guard might be a time for them to kind of open the gateway to hell, and come out back into the world. And that's my feeling of what was going on at this point. Um,
Right, right.
yeah, but she is faced with that decision and she chooses to become the new Sentinel.
Yeah, but I thought it was really cool how it figured in with the dad and the boy and the fiance and I thought it had some cool layers to it. No.
Absolutely, it did. And so at the very end, kind of the denouement of the film, there's the brownstone is being torn down. The building's being torn down. It's a brownstone in
Yeah.
Brooklyn, and they replace it with a modernized apartment building. And then the real estate woman agent shows an apartment to a young couple, and of course, what these two actors playing a bit part in this movie would soon become major
Great
film
careers. Yeah.
stars. Yeah, we
Hmm.
got Tom Berenger and
Nana
uh,
Visitor.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they almost a throwaway scene for both of them.
Yeah.
Eh,
Weird, right?
Yeah, and she and the real estate agent explains that there's only two neighbors, a
Hmm.
violin player and a reclusive nun, a nun. And we see Allison blind, like
Mm,
Father Halloran,
mm.
dressed in a nun getup on the top floor.
Yes. Cool ending. Very 70s fitting ending.
I
Um,
love the ending, man. I think it's great.
yeah. Again, an enjoyable film. 100% enjoyable. Um, it's hard to kind of stack it up against your Don't Look Nows, and like some of the other ones of the 70s, like The Changeling and Clute. Um, is it better than Eyes of Laura Mars?
I liked it more, but I don't know if it's a better film though.
Okay, interesting,
Yeah,
interesting. I was a little torn with my scoring here, got to be honest. But on our Necromaniacs scale of 1 to 5, I gave it a 3.5. I liked it, and it's worth seeing. And that point 0.5 is for the Brooklyn.
I did a little higher than you, man. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. It had a very somber tone, especially the ending.
Hmm.
It wasn't like yeah, it's like the good guys won, but there was a cost. You know what I mean?
Yes, like a lot of 70s movies. Look, a lot of 70s movies either have bummer endings or they have endings like this one you said, where it's like it's good, but you're fucked.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
her character has like a journey through the movie. And
Hmm.
one of the things I really dug about it is it plays with the idea of free will and like predestination.
Mm.
It's very interesting topics, I think. And I look forward to reading the book, honestly. I gotta dig a copy up and I want to see how the book stacks up. And I'm sure that's my one criticism of the film, I guess, is that maybe some of these like plot lines could have been stitched together a little bit more soundly, I think. You know what I mean? There's like maybe it seems a little bit off kilter because there's a lot of sort of connective tissue that might have been left out of the film just for editing purposes.
Yeah, I agree. And just to let the listeners know where it's streaming, Amazon has it for like 379, 399, but it is free on a brand new app. What is that name of that new app that
It's
we
like
watched it on?
Free
It's got,
local or something like
yeah, it's
that.
got some weird name.
Yeah.
Um, but if you have a Roku device and you put it in, it shows you the name of this weird new streaming service. It's not, it's not any of the major ones. It's like literally a brand new one, and I just can't think of the name of it because I didn't write it down. Um, but the movie is out there. It was on Shutter for a time, but it appears that it is no longer, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely on Shutter, and that's when I mean, it must have just left Shutter recently because I mean, I feel like a couple weeks ago I found it on there.
Okay. But yeah, it's out there. You don't got to dig too hard, folks, for this one. And with your 3.5 score and your 4 score, it's definitely worth watching. And yeah, still kind of still kind of waiting for some 2025 must-sees, Mike Hill. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
know they're
been
coming.
there. It's a little slow, man. There's a couple things. There's Shrouds, the Cronenberg
Mhm.
film.
Mm.
There's a movie that looks kind of intriguing to me called Ash, which
Okay.
is like to me it looks like very Event Horizon inspired sci-fi horror type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, it's got the dude from Breaking Bad, Jess, who played Aaron Paul's. Aaron Paul
Oh,
plays,
okay, great.
yeah,
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
Jesse. He's in it. And there's been a couple things, I think yeah, I don't know, man. This year is not nearly stacking up to last year for sure.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
feel
we'll
like,
see. I mean, it's still late April,
yeah.
and there's probably things that we just haven't come across our desks, as they say, right?
By this time last year, though, we had quite a few that had already been released. So
We did, yeah. Weird, huh?
yeah.
Hmm.
I do think this year, don't we get Thanksgiving too?
Yes, I think we get it later this year. Not 100% on it, but I think so.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like I said, it's been a weird ass year for me, so I'm a little probably even out of the loop with brand new horror. So, you know, listeners keep us honest, maybe. Let us know if there's something that's like must see, I'll check
Well,
it out.
well, last week I saw a new film called New Religion, which is definitely
Hmm,
not for everybody, but it's
hmm.
like if you're into like Kurosawa's films like Cure or something like that, it's something that you might be interested in. But to me, I thought it's probably going to be on my top five, honestly.
Oh, awesome. That's good
Yeah.
to hear.
But it's definitely not for everybody. It's very, very slow.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that wraps up this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And Mr. Hill, we'll see these people next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye.